What's this topic about? Yeah, freedom fail. Let's get into it. It's because the gays are now boring people. A lot of what we're seeing in society today with these new groups of flamboyant jackasses are because the gays are now normal and boring. And just so people know, I don't have a problem with the LGBT community whatsoever, or the furries or any of it. I'm just pointing out some of the weirdness I see out there. And it's always the extremists that fucking ruin a good day, a good picnic for everybody. Like, everybody's having a good time, and then the crazies come out. Now, where am I going with this? Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. And why do I always say that? Because, hey, if I choose to upload this, you should be watching at 1.75. This is not a channel for children. I talk about all sorts of crazy things. I swear, I cuss. And I am not your digital nanny. I am not a replacement for you being a real parent. If you're farming out your parental time to a screen, you are a shitty parent. And just so people know, this is my sphere of oblivion. And if you come in here being all like, robot or retard, I will happily call you that. If you're going to speak in my chat, have something worth saying. Don't just roll in, hi, or a bunch of stupid emojis. Figure out how to fucking speak. Or I'll put you in timeout, block you, or I'll just filter it to only where my subscribers can talk. And you know why? You know why I do that? Because I'd rather have a handful of people who can actually carry on a real conversation and maybe stay on topic than a bunch of fucking retards that are just like, I mean, there's a time and a place, and every once in a while I let you idiots go wild, but I'm not a daycare for your mental issues. I've got my own. Let's get into it. So sometimes I think, a lot of the crazy stuff we see with the furry community and these other rainbow people, protesters and stuff, is because the gay community became boring. And that was the goal, wasn't it? Oh, no one wants to be boring. It turns out now you're as boring as your parents. And you're like, no, we're still cool. No, you're not. You're cool from about the age of like maybe somewhere in your teens to mid to late 20, maybe to 35, if you're lucky. And then you're just another motherfucker going to work. And you get a little more, you go from being obsessed with being cool and accepted and fun, and you get a little more practical, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta actually pay bills now. That's when, when people stop being cool? Generally when they have kids. And so the gay community used to be the extreme community that they were. Some of them still are, but for the most part, the people that were really fighting for rights, their right to, go out, be married, have families, have a normal life. You won. And that's great. I was rooting for you for selfish reasons, actually. Well, what do you mean selfish reasons? I wanted to see Flamer Gay Divorce Court. The show still hasn't been made. I want to see who's fighting over the Chihuahua or the purse dog. No, Fernando, you do not get Alfonso. He's going with me. I bought him, but I took care of him. Oh, fuck, that'd be great. You could see the same kind of, before the furries really busted out onto the scene. Now, they've been around for ages, by the way. And a lot of these other rainbow, freakazoid, I'm a Therian, I'm a whatever. And by the way, if you're that, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying there's a lot of fucking whack jobs in your midst. And I think a lot of it's just attention-seeking douchers, if we're being honest about it. It's not, I am this spiritually connected. And by the way, I'll give credit to the fucking weirdos among the furry community for one major reason. I have heard Christians say some wacky shit. I've heard Muslims and every other religious person say some wacky shit my whole life. So I can't really be like, yeah, those people dressed up in fursuits, they're totally crazy. When there's someone that's, the reason they hate or love something, or they believe that, this guy lives in the clouds and he can do no wrong, even though he flooded the earth to kill off everybody but one family. Like, come on, man. Fucking, who are you kidding? You people are as nutty as the people, the extreme version of what the replacement for the LGBT community was, which is now the furries, now the extreme leftists that are protesting, bruh. No, you're a bunch of attention-seeking whores that haven't learned how to make a YouTube channel. Did I say too much there? But you're a bunch of attention-seeking whores. And so you go out to the streets and you act like crazy people. Or you go online. And this is the thing. The reason a lot of people hate the furries is because you guys go into other people's fandoms and infest it. You might be part of that fandom, But then you try to be like force your fan, and you know what? There's enough space on the internet for if somebody wants to make the, even though a lot of Warhammer fans fucking hate it, if they want to make the furry version of Warhammer, just don't watch it. But I think what happens more and more, and this is what happened. You guys remember the after gay marriage, the gay cake issue, or was it before gay marriage? I think it was after. Basically, like someone's saying, you have to bake me this gay wedding cake, and they're like, I don't believe in that. I can recommend several people that could do a wonderful job for you, but like, no, you must. And that's also what, by the way, that was about the same time that once again, the people that were fighting for their rights just to get married and have a normal situation, people started looking back and go, maybe we did make a mistake. But no, honestly, a lot of the people that were fighting for their rights, now they're just married people with boring lives the same as everybody else. So hey, there's equality when we're all boring together. So that's not sexy anymore. It's just not. It's not sexy. So we have to go to some new extreme. And I've kind of said this for a while, because they said this. I mean, hey, you can criticize Limbaugh as much as you want, but he kind of called it out when there was that gay choir saying, we're coming after your children next. So I look it up. You can find the song. Gay choir basically tells them they're coming after your children. And like, that was a joke. Well, what did they do a few years later? They're trying to trans your kids. And then, so I've often kind of joked, even though it's not really a joke, which are they going to try to fight for next? Because the furries, it seems like, not all of them, obviously it's a very small amount, are probably pet fuckers, animal fuckers, zoophiles. And some of them are pedos. Let's be honest about it. Which are they going to try to normalize next? Because they've already kind of went after your kids. I think, honestly, they're going to go after your kids long before they're going to go after the animals. Because people seem to have this weird soft spot. Like, if a kid had something happen to it, that's horrible. But if Hassan Piker shocks his dog and most of his rabid fan base turns on him, like they're ready to cast him into the fires of hell because Hassan Piker shocked his dog. And granted, Hassan Piker's a fucking tool shed. There's a dozen reasons you should have walked away from that guy ages ago. But it strikes me that even the rainbow community cares more about pets than they do about children. You know? But then you see some of the most extreme, wild, like insane people coming out of the furry community. Or you see these people that are like shooters or something, and it turns out, yes, they were furries. Now, am I saying that's all furries? No. But I'm saying just like Christians have fanatical nutbags or Muslims have fanatical nutbags, the LGBT's new wonder child, the furry community and the trans community, you guys have some fucking nut jobs. Now, I gotta wonder, just as a side note, how many of the old LGBT community just kind of have that moment where they're doing a Picard facepalm and they're like, all the years that I put up with beatings, harassment, and all this shit so we could just live a normal life, and look at what these fuckers are doing. Like being like, I don't know, the older parent or the grandparent that's looking at society, like some guy that like stormed the beaches in Normandy, and they come back and they're like looking at all the fucking jackass buffoon behavior, like we fought for a prosperous country, and then look at what people are, like they look at the old World War II veteran that fought the Nazis, and then be like, you're a Nazi! I wonder if that's starting, that kind of reality check is happening among the LGBT community. Because you guys got what you wanted, which is you get to live the same boring lives as everybody else now. You're boring. That's acceptance. That's tolerance when you're boring. But yeah, the new Bella at the ball, in my opinion, is the extreme activist, the nut job activist for it was new LGBT, Democrat, and the furries. Because the old version was just too boring, too old. And for those that are like, I can't believe you just said that. Prove me wrong. It's not good enough that you just go out there and live your life and live peacefully and do what you want. And this is where it comes back to, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, a lot of the people that you see in these communities are literally people who faked crazy to get a check, or they're living with mommy and daddy. Handful of them are actually well-to-do. In fact, some of the people that make those fursuits are incredibly well-to-do because it's very expensive to be one of them. And I actually appreciate the artistic ability of them. But a lot of them, the ones on the fringes, they're broke. They're either faking crazy and they have their little fursonas, or I'm Etherean because they're attention-seeking whores that don't know how to make a YouTube channel. Kind of, dropping a name there. No, this is the wasteland. Love the wasteland. Yeah, does this look like inland? You know what? I bet this does look like inland Australia. Hey, do you got these big cactus there? But yeah, no. It's just a thought I've had over the years. That as the LGBT has become boring and more boring, it's become the snore fest, like going to the library. Let's be honest. Like, now, the fun, exciting, the new club, the new bar, the new tavern, is the insane people. Well, yeah. Sounds like Australia's a pretty all right place. Anyways, I'm going to roll. Take it easy.